Welcome to another edition of the Fearless Football Forecast, a jam-packed edition, I must say.
Indeed.
After last week we had 2 games, this week we have 6. So the teams were kind of, I don't know, they're making us work for our money this week. They thought last week was a joke, and so we got a full slate now. Tony, we'll get right into it. The first game, great game, obviously, one we've been building up to, it seems like for weeks, months at this point.
Sure.
Washington finally travels to Farmville Central, and we get to see probably who's the best team in this conference.
Yeah, this is probably the game of the week. I think you'd say an undefeated Farmville Central team at home, hosting a really tough Washington team that's 5-1, only loss of the year to a really good Havelock team. This is what it comes down to in that league probably. I mean, what happens on Friday will go a long way into determining who's going to win that league. You know that whoever wins that game has the upper hand. Farmville Central's been great. Every time that they've been challenged, they've been up to it. Washington, probably played a tougher schedule.
Definitely.
I think everybody would agree. They played a little bit of a tougher schedule, but you can't argue with the results. Farmville Central goes out and drops 50 on people, it seems like, every week. Washington's really good, too. Going to be a really good game.
Yeah, it's the opening game in the conference, Eastern Plain Conference. But as we said, a huge one right off the bat. Who are you going to pick in that showdown?
Well, Scott Gardner said a few weeks back when you picked against Farmville Central to be very careful about picking against the Jaguars. That being said, I'm picking Washington. I feel like the strength of schedule. I feel like the strength of schedule has a lot to do with that. I feel like Washington's going to come in fired up, wanting to prove themselves against a 6-0 team. I think it'll be a squeaker, but I think Washington will win.
All right. So Tony goes with the Pan Pack. Jim, what do you say?
One thing I wanted to mention about this week too. These are two top 10 teams. Battling each other. And if you look at the whole slate, we have 4 top 10 teams. Across the board, there's 40 ranked teams. 4 of them are going to be playing in county this weekend. It's Friday, so between Newbern and
Rose too.
In this matchup. But I'm going to go against Tony. I'm going to go with Farmville in this one. I'm going to go with the bye week team. That's
that helps too.
I'll go to. I think Washington is a really good football team.
I do too.
I think both these teams have a long playoff run in them. I'm just going to give Farmville the edge just because. I'm gonna hedge on the fact that they've been blowing everybody out. It might be enough to give them a little edge over Washington, who I agree has played a much tougher schedule.
Yeah, I agree. I'll go with the home team. I'll take the Jaguars.
Well, Gardner's already warned you not to pick against them.
I'm on thin ice over there in Farmville.
This will be the first time I picked against them.
They're at home. If it was at Washington, I would probably pick Washington, but I'll go with Farmville. The other thing, and he's our featured player this week, Edward Davis.
Congrats to him.
Yeah, he was named to the Shrine Bowl earlier this week. He's been hurt the last few weeks. He's supposed to be back. Maybe he makes a difference. I think it's a wild game. I think it's really close, but I'll take the Jaguars in a really close game. Jim, next game, you mentioned Newbern, 7-0, number 1 team in the state, maybe the most talented team in the state. They travel to South Central, another tough game for the Falcons.
Yeah, South Central hasn't had any luck with the schedule. At least they got this game at home. You were talking about Newbern, who's the top 4A team in the state. And that's impressive. It shows you how tough this league is. South Central and Newbern are both in. Newbern's just been dominating. They beat Havelock, which is perennial state champion. So they're just 7-0 and just really rolling right now. South Central coming off back-to-back losses. Probably not the time that you want to be playing the Bears.
Yeah, I agree. You gonna go with an upset, or you going with Newbern?
I'm gonna go with Newbern in this one. I think you just have to. I mean, there's a reason why they're the number 1 team in the state, and I think that win over Havelock says a lot because Havelock's been rolling over everybody else. So I think you got to go with Newbern in this one. But I think South Central make it a fight like they did against Rose last week. But I think just Newbern's just way too talented.
Yeah, I was going to say I covered Rose, South Central last week. South Central hung with them, but overall, the second half especially, the tide turned toward Rose. I think this one's probably similar. I think Newbern is really good. And speaking of Newbern Rose, this is maybe a game where you can start comparing what did Newbern do to South Central compared to Rose do to South Central, all that kind of stuff. I think Newbern's too good. They get a win. What do you think, Tony?
I look at the number 2 ECC opponents for Newbern, and the combined score has been 70-3.
Yeah.
That speaks volumes. And, as Jim mentioned, number 1 in the state. Hard to go against that team. I think Newbern will keep it rolling.
All right. I'll take the next game. Speaking of Rose, I covered them last week. This week they're at home. They host CB Aycock. CB Aycock is 1-1 in the conference. Rose is 2-0. And obviously we've kind of been talking. This is a stacked league. You have Newbern, you have Conley, who I hadn't talked about. You have Rose, South Central has had good moments.
Eastern
Wayne, I was going to say,
Really
is
good
really
team.
good.
Yeah.
So Rose has the advantage, but CB Aycock is 4-3 overall. They're a winning team, and this is a game that Rose needs to win. I mean, you have to keep up in this league, basically, I guess is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, there's no weeks off.
Yeah, I mean, if you take a week off, you lose. Conley lost a few weeks ago to Rose. I mean, you can easily fall down in that order. And
No doubt.
They're at the top. I think this is a big game. They're at home, and I think it could be a close one. But they obviously need to kind of earn the win and keep rolling. With my pick, I'm going to take the Rampant. I think they're too much on offense. We say it every week, but nobody seems to stop them. I mean, they're scoring 50 points every single week. That might not change till they say Newbern at the end of the year, but I think that continues Friday. I think Rose wins.
Yeah, Rose has been so good at home, too. Every home game they've had, they've just been lights out. And even if a team would hang around with them for a little while, they find a way to stretch that thing out. And by the end, they got a 50-14 win or whatever it might be. Been really impressed with the usual suspects there. Copeland Spell's been awesome.
Yes.
Cornell Powell, obviously, there's a reason he's being recruited by all the top teams in the country, all top colleges in the country. I feel like Rose will move to 8-0.
Okay, Jim?
Yeah, I think there'll be a lot of points scored.
Yeah, high scoring for sure.
Friday, yeah, but
Because Aycock can score a little bit.
yeah, they
too.
do. They're averaging over 30 points a game. So this, I think it'll be will keep us busy keeping up with stats. But I don't think Rose will have an issue. No one's slowed them down yet, and I don't anticipate it happening on Friday night.
All
Rose
right.
with a big win.
Yeah, I agree. Tony, next game, maybe the one team that is struggling in this league is Southern Wayne. They travel to D.H. Conley, which is rested a little bit after a bye week.
Yeah, and I think the bye week will come into play there. They needed to get healthy at a few spots, it seemed like. They maybe just needed a week off just to take a breath. You know what I mean? I think the bye week came at a great time for Conley. Southern Wayne comes in at 1-5, lost 3 in a row, only scoring 12.5 points a game.
Yeah.
That says a lot. In this day and age in high school football, if that's all you're averaging, I don't think Conley's scared of that at all. I feel like they'll come in there full of confidence.
All right, you can pick the Vikings.
Yeah, I think they'll even up that league record. I think that's the main thing that Pascal's worried about. Coach Pascal's probably wanting to say, look, we're 0-1 in league. We need to get a victory there. I think they'll go out and take care of business.
All right, yeah, Jim.
Conley's been playing in a bunch of really close games the last 4 or 5
have.
weeks. I think this will be the week where they kind of have a breakout performance, kind of win comfortably. I think they kind of need that, and I think they'll come this week. I don't see any issues with Conley. This may be the best bet win of the week.
Yeah.
Well, maybe Newbern would have you'd have to favor them a lot too. But Conley, you got to think they're heavy favorites in this game. I just don't see them having any trouble this Friday.
Yeah, I'm glad you say that. I was going to say the same thing. They have played close games here, so even kind of underwhelming games early in that stretch too. Maybe you would think they would get a bigger win. I think they do that this week. I think they get a blowout 20, 30-point win.
Yeah.
And kind of move forward and maybe get that thing rolling again. Jim, I believe, has the net. There's so many games. I'm getting sidetracked.
It's Jim.
But
I can't think of where we're done, and then there's another game.
North Pitt, which you saw get their first win a few weeks ago. They traveled to Southwest Edgecombe, which looks to be a pretty good team too at 4-2.
Yeah, these are both teams that are kind of surging now. North Pitt's got a couple wins in a row, so they got a little confidence.
Good for
last
them.
week they're coming off a really big win over Northside, so going on the road and getting that big win. So they're it's one of those things where we really needed to build some momentum, and they got that. Now Southwest Edgecombe's the same way, 4-1 over their last 5. So you got a couple teams who are really surging here, and those 2 teams that. At this point in the season, you got to keep that momentum going. This is a tough spot to get a loss. I mean, we're getting down to the nitty-gritty here in the next couple of weeks. So this is a pretty crucial conference game for both these squads.
All right, who are you going to pick?
I'm gonna go with Southwest Edgecombe. I just think because they're at home,
Yeah.
They've sustained their good run of play longer. I think I'm going to give them a slight edge there. North Pitt's playing really well. You know, the fact that they put up so many points last week against Northside, I thought was really encouraging.
Yeah.
You know, that was the first time that they've really broken out like that.
Yeah, definitely.
But I think I want to see them do it a little more consistently before I can pick them in a game like this. So I think I'm going with Southwest Edgecombe.
All right, yeah, I agree. I think I covered this game last year in Bethel. Southwest Edgecombe runs the ball really well.
Huge front line
year.
from what I remember.
Every year, you cycle different players, but it seems like, there's always 1 or 2 good running backs, as Tony said, a good line.
Yeah.
I think that's too much for the Panthers up front. I think North Pitt, like Jim said, can hang in if they can hit some big plays. But I'll take Southwest Edgecombe at home to win.
Yeah, that's a tough opener for league play for North Pitt to have to go to a tradition-rich Southwest Edgecombe team that I think has pretty much owned North Pitt in the past few years. Unluckily for the Panthers, I don't think that's going to stop. I believe Southwest Edgecombe will open with a win there in league play.
All right, now we're finally to the last game.
I was out of breath.
Yeah, I'll take this one.
We're out of film.
Yeah, Aiden Grifton is 2-4. They head to a 1-5 Green Central team, but as I noted on our sheet here, nobody has a winning record in this league.
It's weird.
They're all at this point. The easiest way is they're all 0-0 right now in the league. Nobody's played a game yet. Every team has struggled, all 6 of them. But Aiden Grifton did lose by 1 point last week, or not last week, 2 weeks ago. Lost a 7-6 game. The same things. It seems like they're not scoring a bunch of points. We seem to keep talking about that.
Yeah.
But as we said, you get into this league, there's some teams that obviously have struggled. Maybe this is the time they can break out. They did it last year. Can they do it again? I think is a major question mark. Green Central, I don't think is a bad team. They're 1-5.
Pretty athletic.
They played Farmville. Yeah, they have a decent quarterback, some kind of pieces on offense. So despite the records, I think this is an intriguing game because they're both, I think, have a shot to make a run in this conference. So this can be a huge way. Whichever team wins this is really off to a good start, momentum-wise. Could be a huge win in the end. For my pick, I'll take the Chargers. Little reluctant, just because they haven't scored so many, a ton of points at all in the past month. But I'll take Aiden Grifton. I like what they do in this conference. They won the championship last year. I think they can maybe use that to their advantage. I'll take Aiden Grifton in a close one.
You mentioned the 7-6 loss to Southern Nash 2 weeks ago. They were inches away from getting a 2-point conversion to win that game. I was there, and I mean, it literally, they were inches away from getting it. And Coach Cornwell came out of that really upbeat. Even though they lost, he was like, look, we put up a fight tonight. The previous couple weeks, kind of some lackluster performances. Not so in that game. Then they have the bye week to get even better and kind of regroup, maybe get healthy. I know even their big guy, the ECU recruit, Justin Brown, he had been dealing with some injuries, so I feel like the bye week will help him. He's a dominant player on that front line. I feel like he'll have a huge impact in that game. I think Aiden Grifton will get a win.
Okay, Jim?
This is one of those tough games because we like both coaching staffs.
Yeah,
so,
no doubt.
Usually we're familiar with the home team, the local team, but with this one we got a bunch of former North Pitt coaches, South Central coaches coaching down at Green Central.
Yeah.
I think I saw Green Central play against North Pitt, and they really struggled that night to get anything really going.
Yeah.
I think Green Central's on the right path for a program, and they're building, and I think they got the right coaching staff over there to turn that around. I think you guys will agree with me.
Totally,
with Charles and Coach Wooten and that
no
crew.
doubt.
I mean, they're on their way, but I think right now Aiden Grifton's just gonna have a little too much talent. You know, I mean, there is a lot of talent on Aiden Grifton team.
There is.
And I think right now, I think they're gonna be big enough and strong enough to muscle out a win on the road, and I think they win this game easily.
All right, there we go. There's all 6 of our games, the predictions, everything you need. There's plenty to see. Obviously, I think 4 are at home. So go check out a game and check back with us next week.